Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that Manchester United are now very, very close to finalizing the signing of Onana from Inter Milan to be their new goalkeeper. Obviously, the David De Gea era has officially come to an end. Look, let's go ahead and get straight into this. G, what is your initial reaction to this news that Man United are on the verge of signing Onana officially?
Look, this came out a bit of a nowhere. I did not expect this. And I think it's spectacular business. Look, can it get much better than that? Because obviously, it hurts to see a legend like David De Gea, Premier League icon, I would say. Because look, let's not forget how good David De Gea was in his heyday. He kind of had a little bit of an ugly exit, but he's still, and I believe, an all-time great.
Mm-hmm.
Leaving the club he's been at for over a decade. But to fill that gap, it's difficult. I mean, we saw Chelsea struggle trying to fill that Courtois gap, but Onana is the perfect fit. This guy is. We saw how good he was in the Champions League. Look, he kept Inter in so many of those games. He is world class, and he deserves this type of move. And God knows he's gonna be getting paid. He's gonna get a lot of money in this deal, but he gets to take that next step in his career to go to a club of Manchester United's level. And I think it just makes that entire, what's going on in United a lot better because they're building a bit of a squad. That's a pretty good team. And a lot of people were already saying David De Gea had to go anyway, that he wasn't good enough. Onana's 100% good enough. I think immediately he's up there as, arguably not the best goalkeeper in the Premier League, but one of,
Mm-hmm.
because that's how good this guy is. And I'm surprised Inter are willing to sell him. I mean, I remember they wanted upwards to 100 million for him. I was like, no one's going to touch Onana then. That's just too much money.
Got
But
him for less.
United,
Good business.
yeah, great business. And you just have to tip your hats to United. They're doing good business in this transfer window. They are not, they're not happy where they finished. They're not happy with top four. They want more than that. They want to win more trophies, and this is a step in the right direction.
I agree. And it pains me to say it, but I have to give Manchester United all the credit in the world. I wanted Onana so badly at Chelsea, and it's vastly disappointing to see him instead go to Manchester United. But I have to give them credit for pulling off the signing. They ultimately paid the money that they needed to pay because they had an issue at goalkeeper. Look, make no mistake about it, De Gea is a legend at not only Manchester United, but in the Premier League. But I said it at the end of last season. If Manchester United wanted to seriously contend for the best trophies, which we all know United want to do, that's ultimately who United are. They want to compete for the best. They needed to get rid of De Gea, ship him away, and bring in a top-class goalkeeper, a world-class goalkeeper. And that's exactly what they've done. They've gotten a goalkeeper who can immediately step in and play the way Eric Ten Hag wants to play. We saw just how good he was in that Champions League final against Manchester City. He played out of the back brilliantly. And that was just the tip of the iceberg of how good this guy is. He has all the ability in the world. He is going to be top class the minute he steps on a pitch for Manchester United. And I give them all the credit for pulling it off because I look at United and I say, one of their main issues was the goalkeeper position. And they've addressed that and then some. They have fixed that. There is not even a thought of an issue anymore. Onana is going to be brilliant for them. Make no mistake about it, he's going to be brilliant. Now the only issue with their squad is what are they going to do at the striker position? I mean, they still lack that true potent number 9, but I think ultimately they are going to find a way to solve that problem. And when they do that, Manchester United are going to be a force to be reckoned with. Because I said it last season. They made brilliant signings last season. I mean, I said bringing in Casemiro ultimately changed that team. Rashford hit the ground running last season, was brilliant. I think he's going to do that next season. They brought in Mason Mount. And do I think they overpaid slightly for Mason Mount? Yes, but that doesn't mean it isn't a good signing. I think he's going to hit the ground running, and he's going to basically be exceptionally better than what he was last season for Chelsea. He's going to be good for Manchester United. And I agree with you. They're building a squad. They're going to be a very, very good team next season. And this, to me, is a statement of intent because I said it. They had to get rid of De Gea and go for a guy like Onana. It's exactly what they've done. So I can't sit up here and spin this any way that is the bad signing or anything of the sort. This is fantastic. And I am jealous that they pulled it off and Chelsea didn't. Because now we still have an issue at goalkeeper. And the main guy that we wanted that we
He's
said
an
this
out
is
now
this is
gone.
the guy we need to get because he's the best on the market, the best guy available. Ultimately, United have said we're snapping him up. We're gonna take him right from underneath your chin and we're gonna bring him to Old Trafford. You have to give them credit. And look, not to make this all about Onana because it is obviously the departure of De Gea, but it was time.
It was
De
time.
Gea had to go. I got some flack last season or last year, whatever. I got some slack, or I got some flack for criticizing De Gea. Some said I was going a bit too hard on him. Some said that I just didn't know ball because I said look, I said that there were a lot of Premier League goalkeepers better than De Gea.
There's a lot, yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, I was right. De Gea was not that good. I mean, De Gea cost Manchester United a lot of points
So
last
many
season.
games.
And
Cost
now
them many games.
ultimately, they've fixed that. They've basically addressed that hole and replaced him with the guy that is not going to make those mistakes. We've seen enough from him, especially in the Champions League, but also in Serie A with Inter, to say that he is not going to make those mistakes. He's not just going to magically, have holes in his hands or anything like that. This guy can do it all. He's brilliant playing out of the back. He can make the important saves that he needs to make. And that's why I have to sit here and say that he fits Erik ten Hag's system perfectly. And this is a top-class, brilliant signing that puts United officially in contention. And I'm not saying they're going to win it, but they're in contention to win the best trophies. I'm not saying they're going to win the Premier League or the Champions League.
I think they're in contention to win trophy. Yeah, 100%. 100%.
And you can't look any trophy, yes,
No.
but I sit here and I say, if you think they have 0% chance to win the Premier League or the Champions League, you're crazy. I'm not saying that they're the favorites or by any stretch of the imagination, but
they can win trophies.
They
yeah,
could
100%.
win. They are good enough to do it. Their midfield is very, very strong. Their defense is very, very good. They have the goalkeeper. Their wingers are good.
They're just missing the striker. They're missing the striker.
If they sign a lethal striker, I'm not going to say it, but
unfortunately, there isn't a lot out. Yeah, there isn't a lot out there. But look, yeah, getting a guy in his prime in Onana, a guy 27, years young, he still has, a good. I would say like 5 for a goalkeeper. That's basically spring chicken. He's got like 5 to 6 to 7 years still in him.
At the top level.
At the top level. So, especially with how just we've seen keepers go on for. I think it's a spectacular signing, and you just have to tip your hat to it,
Yeah, and I think it's the perfect signing for United, but obviously I don't want to make this a Chelsea video when it's not. But I have to say I'm for the first time this transfer window, I have to say I am disappointed because we had all of the leverage in making this deal happen. We had Romelu Lukaku, who Inter wanted. All we had to do was add Lukaku to the deal and pay the money, and we could have had Onana. Our goalkeeper issue would have been solved. We wouldn't have had to see Kepa start next season for Chelsea. But as it stands right now, it looks like that is going to be the case. And this is the first time where I can say this was a error. This was a mistake from the Chelsea board. This was a mistake from Todd Boehly that they didn't pay the money. I'm not saying they haven't made any mistakes. I'm saying this is the first. This is the first time I can say that they've made the mistake of not ponying up the money when they needed to, because we all know that they're willing to spend, of course, but we also all know that we need a goalkeeper desperately, and it was right there on a silver platter for us. Inter want Lukaku, and we all know that Onana was going to leave Inter. They can play hardball all they want. This was inevitable. Someone was going to pay the money. It should have been us. We could have offered Lukaku and like 50 million, and I believe that would have gotten the deal done. But ultimately, they didn't want to make that happen. They didn't want to pull the trigger. And all I'm going to say is this. They better have something up their sleeve, because if they don't, this is a catastrophic error that is ultimately strengthening a rival yet again. Obviously not quite the same as the Havertz or the Mount, because that's directly them joining from us to strengthening a rival. But because of our inability to make this signing, a rival has been massively strengthened. And ultimately, this is a team that we're supposed to be competing with to get top 4 next season. And I look at United right now and I say, can we compete with that team? I don't know if we can.
I mean, that's a question we're just gonna have to see play out next season. That's gonna be what's gonna make it very interesting. Like, this United team is pretty fucking good. It's just missing. It has that one fatal flaw.
Yeah, and if Marcus Rashford is able to continue on with his goal scoring form of last season, I think they'll be fine. Even if they don't sign, a guy of prowess at the striker position, like for example, it's not going to happen, but a Harry Kane level striker. Yeah. If they're not able to sign a striker of that level, I think they'll be okay. They're not going to win the Champions League, but they'll be okay.
They'll be fine. Yeah. They'll make it. They'll get by.
But ultimately, you're going to have to let us know in the comments down below. What do you think about this signing? Do you think this puts United in contention to win either the Premier League or the Champions League next season? What is their ceiling for next season after getting this signing done? Let us know in the comments down below. And subscribe to the channel for more football content. Slap a like on the video. But I think without further ado, we can get out of here.
Let's get out of here.
So, I'm Zach.
I'm G.
And we'll see you next time for another video on the channel. Peace.